Hello and welcome to Hams Radio. I am Hams, and I just wanted to say before we get started that whether you are a new or returning viewer, I just wanted to thank you for your support. Okay, so my whole channel, if you are new here, my channel is all about my journey as I find a life after my trauma. And I will be showing the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to my healing journey as in hopes that this will somehow encourage or help somebody on their own healing journey or own spiritual journey or whatever journey it is. If you think that sounds like a channel that may add some positivity to your own life, please do hit that subscribe button down below. Today's my thoughts will be all about mental health. And before getting into that, I just wanted to say I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a medical professional. I am just sharing my experience when it comes to my own mental health in hopes that it could help someone in their own mental health journey. And so today I decided to move forward with I've learned about codependency this week, and I am currently learning about borderline personality disorder, which even though I may not at a clinical level, actually I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. No idea. As I'm reading and learning about borderline personality disorder, BPD, it almost feels like somebody has taken my life and made a slideshow about it. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh my God, it's this sudden falling in place of so much shit that I had no idea about anything. Zero, nothing. The way this has been explained to me, I'm watching like psychologists, people who have their PhD. My mom has her PhD. I am listening to people who are experts in this field. So I'm looking up at YouTube. It's like continuing education for people in psychology. Are the classes or the videos I'm watching. So today, all I'm doing is reading my diary today and throughout the last few days of learning more about this. That is all. I'm not explaining anything. So here we are. What is fawning? Trying to trade with the oppressor. I am a codependent. Has to have a spiritual shift. Have to find myself, my true self. Realize when I'm fawning. Keep noticing how I'm feeling. It's very specific. I know what the feeling is. I resisted an urge to fawn. I need to help or else. Don't help out of neurosis. I made a drawing about my fake self. This is my true self. This is my subconscious. So trying to yank my true self out of my subconscious. It's safe for me to want what I want. I have permission to be who I am. I'm granting myself permission to. It feels like I'm being able to have these realizations during these videos that make some stuff make sense. Identifying as being a codependent makes a lot of what I do make sense to me. So being able to come to these thoughts that really shift my perspective in ways that I keep sobbing from these realizations. I am starting to grieve for myself, for everything I've endured to survive, who I've had to be to survive, and now What I have to do is bring the scared little girl in the cave back into the world. Take down the scarecrow. I don't need it anymore. I need to love myself. I have a responsibility to myself to grow up and embrace a more honest way of being, and to put myself first. I know I will lose my comfortable habit of hiding, but I will gain the prize of truly living as myself. It's like I can feel the internal shifting happening in my chest. Another feeling of confrontation between who I've had to be and who I'm trying to be. I feel like the old me is giving in to the new me, and there's been energy releases, and there's been energy releases I've felt through either tears or breath. Challenge. If I'm saying something that makes me feel weak, things coming apart in the gut, stop talking. It may feel like a betrayal. Replace with words that don't make me feel like that. Something feels off. What does a healthy relationship look like? Educate myself. What are my codependent behaviors? What's keeping me in codependent patterns? Do it anyways, even if I feel shame/fear. I just felt a huge wave of panic, but it quickly left. Learn more about emotional flashbacks and emotional literacy. I have a false reality. I'm not going to read that for reasons that I do not need to tell you. And this is from this morning. I did not meditate last night. I woke up around 6 a.m. this morning. I don't know if it's just my sleep fluctuation or if me waking up later is an indicator of something. I had a lot of trouble during meditation this morning. Emotion related to something from yesterday kept popping up. I'm not sure of the emotion. I don't understand most of what Sam Harris is saying. I didn't read a manual of what some of the sentencing things mean. I felt activated through most of it. The swell before crying came up. I don't know what caused it. I still feel the ramp up in my chest. I think I just need to go home. I'm learning about codependency and BPD. Recalling emotional regulation or lack thereof. I remember when I was 7/8, a time that I was upset about something. I don't remember what exactly I was crying about. And Bio Dad asked me what was wrong. I knew already that whatever it was I was crying about wouldn't have been a good enough reason to be crying for my biological dad, Bud. So I instead told him that I was crying over missing my bio mom. I think that would be an example of how I had to numb or change feelings, emotions, thoughts. I constantly had to try to be good enough to get attention. It never really worked from what I remember. Borderline personality disorder. When someone is on a tightrope, walking on the borderline of feeling safe versus danger, security versus abandonment, safe versus threatened, loved versus abandoned. I do notice a spike in anxiety when people I want to not leave. Although I remember, I don't think I've let it make me get out of control. I don't think I've ever let it make me get out of control. I don't think I've let it make me get out of control, except with a guy I saw for a couple of months. And TJ Inken, he is a guy I dated while I was in the Marine Corps, and I was on in HMH 466 Wolfpack. While we were dating, he ended up raping me, and then he later on cheated on me. The rape will be included in my Me Too story, military edition. I'll throw it up here when I finish and make it. So I'll throw it up in the cards right here. I do have a lot of emotional turmoil when people leave. Doesn't matter how illogical it is. My brain understands that there's no danger. My emotions scream that there is. I am hypervigilant to nonverbal, especially, I didn't finish that. I do experience extreme anger and I do lash out. Very rarely though. I have kicked my sister when I was about 16, when she was just fucking pissing me the fuck off. I remember she was in a corner and I just had this burst of uncontrollable rage and I kicked her. I honestly don't remember if I kicked with all of my might or did I not, because it was my sister. I've been drunk and I hit TJ Inken, the one who raped me and cheated on me. Raped is the part I'd like to point out. I've been drunk and hit TJ. I've been physical with Michael Nanto. He was an ex-boyfriend who was extremely abusive. I think he's been lying to me about what happened that night. I doubt the story he tells is truthful. He was a pathological liar. The furniture was broken to fit his story. I have a lot of doubt now. Weird. I never would have thought myself a violent person, but I've been violent with a couple different people. I think I've tried to shove my anger down, that although few and far between, it still has to bubble out somewhere. And from the incidents, it appears it's typically people close to me. Would I be capable of murder if I'm triggered intensely enough? I would gather yes. I don't know if it being justifiable would even matter at the time. I know I would immediately regret it. I know I'd be distraught over the entire thing, but if I keep growing and keep addressing what I need to address, the more the risk of that happening will decrease. More so, I hope, for unjustifiably killing someone. I have hope that I, like most people, won't even have to deal with having to make that choice. Every time I do not listen to my thoughts, wants, and needs, I am confirming to myself they are not important. To listen to my thoughts, wants, and needs, I am validating that this is okay and they are valid and important. Emotion, question mark, early warning signs, urges, coping. When you feel emotion, does it trigger particular memories or images from your past? Log target behavior, deregulation, splitting, hypercontrol, etc. for frequency, intensity, duration, trigger, and tools, if any. Good person checklist. What makes a good person? Now go and see what I already am on list. Connect with and address the beliefs of the wounded inner child. Begin to believe that their own thoughts, wants, and needs are valid and important. What is HPA dysregulation? So that's what I wrote. As I went through and reread stuff, there were a couple things I could not include for reasons, but as I was doing that, I started feeling this feeling, and so I decided to write a little bit more. So I'm right now, this is just a description of my emotion. Burning in my chest, discomfort coming up to the back of my throat. It keeps intensifying, then it's barely noticeable. But most of the time is spent when it's really high, the intensity is really high, or it is in between moving. It barely spends too much time in the barely noticeable state. Trigger, rereading what I'm about to say on camera and share with the world. Looking at my emotion wheel, I am fearful. Some words I can identify with, I believe, are exposed, nervous, insignificant, worthless, inferior, inadequate, worried, frightened, helpless. So that was just one. I'm trying to be more mindful and more on it when it comes to writing down my emotions when I'm trying to figure out what I'm feeling with all of this dysfunction that I feel. And everything I wrote is just it. I'm diarying. I have this by my side like a lot. I need to be able to write stuff down. If I don't write stuff down, I'm texting myself. I text myself a lot, or I'm keeping notes. I'm constantly logging feelings or stuff that I feel like I need it, that's important. So as I'm learning more about PBD or borderline personality disorder, I realize I could be wrong. I realize I don't know what I'm doing. I know that all I can see is I see positive changes. I see a way out. I see a way, and I have tools now that I can start applying to my life. I basically see a way out of this confusion I've been in. I see a way out, as I know I've described this cloud that I've been in. Instead of seeing the cloud and I am seeing it dissipate, I'm also seeing a rope that I can climb and get out of it. I'm seeing tools to learn myself better, to understand, so I know how I can best take care of myself in any given moment. And it's weird to know that everything I'm learning right now, or realizing I have a deficiency, and I've blatantly put a general blanket over how everyone else feels. I assumed everyone came from the same total just dysfunction I felt, even though I didn't know how to use it. Like, that's the word, dysfunction. I've always felt lost. I've always felt like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And regardless if I actually have it, I'm learning so many tools to make my life better and make myself better. And I don't
I finally see a way just out. And I've been doing that all week. Just thinking about or talking about or learning about myself. And I'm just crying. I'm crying a lot. And I feel these deep-rooted ideas or perspectives. And some of them are super deep. And I know it's going to take a while for me to get them out. But a lot of these beliefs feel super just deep-rooted. And they're really deep-rooted things. I refer to them as, it's just the way I am. It's my personality. It's just in my nature. And what these things actually are just my responses to trauma. And as I make these realizations, that's not who you are. You are stronger. You are better. You are this crazy, amazing person that I've just lived under this shock of the trauma that I've had to live through, especially when I was younger. And realizing I don't need this armor. I don't need this way of thinking. I'm constantly thinking I'm in danger, that I'm constantly gonna be abandoned. And the thing is, I didn't realize I had these thoughts. I didn't realize how worthless I felt. I didn't realize that I've had suicidal thoughts, that I've had all these signs. And I want to say I should have recognized in myself, but knowing and understanding, growing up in the environment I did for those 10 months, I've had to learn how to navigate survival based on somebody else's needs and wants. And it's not even, it may not even be actual needs and wants. It may be what I perceive their needs and wants to be. So you can see how fucking aggravating that can get, because I'm relying on my ability to guess somebody's wants, needs, and desires, and I'm wrong. I'm fucking wrong. And it causes so much stress. I just don't know what to do with it. And I wasn't taught how to identify what's going on inside of me. I was taught to forget, not pay attention to, ignore what's going on inside of me. Because if I do, that's how I become in danger. That's how I made my biological dad negatively react to me, by any thoughts, needs, and wants that did not align with his thoughts, needs, and wants were disregarded. I was told to ignore. And I come out with this thought that my thoughts, needs, and wants are not as important as anybody else's. If there's somebody else around me, I will struggle figuring out what I even need, want, and desire, because I'm so focused on what they need, want, and desire that I can't even realize what's going on in here. And I grew up since 7, 8 with that, and I didn't even realize I don't. It's So I'm coming to realizations like that. And like I said, the release in tears, the release in the breath. Like I will breathe heavily. And I think this is why meditation works so well for me. Because I'm not thinking about anything but in the moment. And when it's just me in the moment, it's just me. And when it's not the thoughts that come up, it's not the PTSD thoughts that creep in or fucking blaze in. It's not, oh my God. All I feel is in the moment, and I can help these thoughts, these unhelpful thoughts, these negative thoughts, not help them, but I'm learning how to acknowledge them. I'm learning how to identify them. I'm learning how to identify triggers, and all of this is so new to me, but I feel like things keep clicking, things keep falling in place the more I learn. I know I may seem fucking obsessive about what I'm doing. I know that. I've had a friend sit me down and was like, hey, you may be going too fast, you may be going too hard, you may be going too strong. And I've done the same thoughts to myself. I've told myself you're going too strong and you can't do this. And it's all these negative thoughts that finally feel uncomfortable enough that I'm not listening to them. I think that's what happened. I've been in such discomfort, and I've hit my limit of this shit, and I've hit that limit, and all this energy that was going to all of this negative things, all these negative things. This is negative self-talk, negative self-esteem. This is negative everything that I felt in the last 32 years. All that energy, I'm just trying to redirect it to something positive. Let's redirect it to meditation. Let's redirect it to growth books. Let's redirect it to understanding who I am. So I feel like I'm not being obsessive. I'm redirecting energy, and the energy is now positive, and positive energy is going to look very, very different than negative energy. I believe I am more positive. I believe my energy is more positive. I believe by implementing these things, it is really helping me. And oh, Jesus. Okay. I'm sorry that was a whole big rant. I do not apologize. That is one thing I'm trying to do, is not apologize for my choices, for being unapologetically me. I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to catch myself when I'm on camera as well, catch some thinking, catch some stuff, try to be more external about what's going on internal to help me digest. So this has been just everything I've been learning this week about myself, and I'm super excited to where I'm going. I am ecstatic to see. I'm feeling a lot of joy and optimism when it comes to the future, which is not something I've been able to feel. That is one thing that I'm like, it's super weird having optimism about the future, true optimism about the future. I have not felt that in my life, and it's weird. That's what I'm experiencing in the last 4 months. Actual optimism about the future. When you're in survivor mode, you don't give a shit about the future. All you're doing is trying to survive in the here and now. If you can't survive here, the future doesn't fucking matter. So as I'm slowly turning off the survival mode, I am being able to have a hopeful spirit about the future, hopeful
thoughts about the future. So that will be end of today. If anything I've said today intrigued you, provoked your thoughts, anything, made you mad, I want to discuss it. I want to know viewpoints. I want to talk about everything. Discussions. Just don't tell me to fuck off. I'm not responding to that. Yeah. If any of what you've heard will add positivity to your life, encourage you. If you have not, again, to remind you to hit that subscribe button below, hit the bell so that you don't miss out on what's going on here. I know today was rough, but I feel like I brought it back, and we're leaving on a positive note with such a bright future going forward. It's becoming harder and harder to be held down by the past. As my future is brighter, my past seems more insignificant. As I deal with things from my past seems more insignificant. All that makes sense. Anyways, thank you for joining. Thank you for sticking for this entire episode. Today was one of the ugly ones. And it wasn't even that bad. I've been worse. I've been worse this week. That was just a small taste. But yeah, until next time, I hope everyone has a good day. Remember, you are not alone. There is hope. Continue growing. Until next time, have a good one.